Hi friends, Allie here. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to crochet the Hello Sunshine Coaster. This is a super quick and easy crochet pattern that's perfect for spring. It's a simple circle with some textured stitches to mimic the sun's rays, plus we'll be adding some fringe around the border for extra fun. Each coaster uses about 24 yards of cotton yarn. Cotton is durable and also absorbs water, so it's a great choice for coasters. I tried a few different types of yarn for my coasters. So for the beige and the orange, I used Crafter's Secret Cotton, and then for this white one, I used Lily Sugar and Cream. Both of these yarns worked really well, and they created a nice stringy fringe. I did also try Hobby Lobby's I Love This Cotton for this coaster, and it didn't work out as well because it's such a soft cotton yarn. When I brushed out my fringe, it got all fuzzy like this. So I would not recommend I Love This Cotton, but I do recommend the other two. If you are wanting to try a different yarn, I would look for one that is a little bit stringier like these two. If you want to follow along with the free written pattern, you can find it on my blog, or you can get the printable PDF version in my Etsy shop and on Ravelry. If you're ready to get started, let's head over to our supply list and let's get making. For today's tutorial, you'll need medium 4-weight cotton yarn. You'll need about 24 yards per coaster. You'll also need a 5mm or H hook, scissors, yarn needle, tape measure, and a comb. We're going to begin by making a magic circle. So we're going to take our tail end of our yarn and wrap it around our pointer finger and our middle finger. When you bring it around a second time, you're going to cross it over. Then take your crochet hook and go under the first strand, grab the second strand and pull it under. Remove your fingers, and then we're going to secure that with a chain 2. So there we have our magic circle. Now for round 1, we're going to be working inside the circle. We're going to double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook through the circle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops on your hook. So there we have 1 double crochet. We're going to work a total of 10 double crochets inside the circle. So there's 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet. We're just going to continue around until we have a total of 10 double crochets inside our circle. When you're done working your 10 double crochets, we're going to take the short tail end of our yarn and pull it tight to close up that hole. Then we're going to join to the top of the first double crochet that we worked with a slip stitch. So insert your hook into the top of the first double crochet, yarn over and bring that loop through, and then through the loop on your hook. So at the end of round 1, you should have a total of 10 stitches. Then we're going to chain 2. I'm just going to rework my slip stitch there since there's a little gap there. I'm just going to work it a little bit tighter so there's no gap. And then I'm going to chain 2, and the chain 2 at the beginning of each round does not count as a stitch. So now we're on to round 2, and we're going to work 1 double crochet into the first stitch. And then we're going to work a front post double crochet around that same stitch. So that's basically a double crochet just worked around the post of the stitch instead of the top. So yarn over and insert your hook beside the post of the stitch, working from front to back and then bringing it back to the front. Then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through the last 2 loops on your hook. So there we have a front post double crochet, and we're just going to repeat those 2 stitches in each stitch around. So double crochet into the next stitch, and then front post double crochet around the post of that same stitch, just like so. And we're just going to repeat that all the way around. Double crochet into the next stitch, and then front post double crochet around the post of that same stitch. So here we will be increasing each stitch by working 1 double crochet at the top of the stitch, and then also front post double crochet around that same stitch. When you get to the end of round 2, our total stitch count is now at 20. We're going to join to the top of the first double crochet with a slip stitch, and then chain 2. Now on to round 3. We're going to work 1 double crochet into the first stitch, and then double crochet into the next stitch, and then front post double crochet around that same stitch. So that's where a front post double crochet is from the previous round. Then we're going to double crochet into the next stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, and then front post double crochet around that same front post double crochet from the previous round. So for round 3, we're going to be working a double crochet at the top of each stitch, and then a front post double crochet around each front post double crochet from the previous round. At the end of round 3, our stitch count is now at 30. I'm going to join to the top of the first double crochet with a slip stitch, and then chain 2. So this is what we're looking like so far. We're going to work 1 more round. So for round 4, we're going to double crochet into the first 2 stitches, double crochet into the next stitch, and then front post double crochet around that same stitch. And just like we did with round 3, we're just going to work 1 double crochet in the top of each stitch and a front post double crochet around the front post double crochet from the previous round. We're just going to repeat that all the way around for round 4. So double crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then double crochet into the next stitch and front post double crochet around the same stitch. At the end of round 4, our stitch count is now at 40. I'm going to join to the top of the first double crochet with a slip stitch. And there is our coaster. So right now it should be measuring around 4.5 inches. So I'm going to stop here. Feel free to continue on with the increasing if you want to make yours larger, but adding the fringe is going to add about 1.5 inches to 2 inches more in diameter. So I'm going to cut off my yarn, leaving a few inches, and I'm going to leave that yarn as is because I'm going to keep that as a piece of fringe, but that one end from the beginning I'm going to weave in. And if you want to leave your coaster just like this and not add fringe, feel free. You can weave in that one end and just leave it as a circle coaster. But I'm going to cut fringe. So I'm going to cut 41 pieces, 3.5 inches long. So each piece of fringe is going to be folded in half. So you can make it as long as you want. Just make sure you make it double the length that you want your final fringe to be. And then also add a little bit extra, because no matter how carefully you add your fringe on, it's not going to turn out even. So at the end, we're going to trim around it. So make it a little bit extra long so that you have room to trim it to your desired length. So I'm going to cut my pieces 3.5 inches long, and I'm going to cut 41 pieces. Once all of your fringe is cut, we can start attaching. So I'm going to flip my coaster over so that the wrong side is facing me and the right side is facing down. And then we're going to be attaching our fringe between each stitch. So instead of at the top of each stitch, we're going to place it between the post of each stitch. So you can insert your crochet hook between two of the stitches and then grab a piece of fringe. We're going to fold it in half and then take that loop and pull it through between the stitches. Remove your hook and then take your fingers and pull the two ends of the fringe through the loop, trying to keep them even with each other, and then pull that tight, and there we have one piece of fringe. So we're going to repeat that all the way around, working one piece between each of the stitches around. Once all your fringe is attached, it should be looking something like this. So now I'm going to grab the comb, and we're going to gently brush through the fringe, and that's just going to separate those little pieces. You want to make sure you do it gently so that you're not tearing out any of the pieces or fraying them too much. So just gently work around, combing through each piece. And you'll see that some of the pieces are a little bit uneven, but we're going to trim them at the end to even it out. So don't worry about that right now. So just go through and comb through all of the pieces. Once all your fringe is combed through, now we're going to trim it to make it a perfect circle. So right now it's looking a little bit messy and the fringe is a little bit longer than I want it. So I'm just going to trim around it. Make sure that you only take off a little bit at a time, because once you cut, you can't get it back. So slowly cut around, just taking a little bit off at a time, and then you can keep taking off more as you like. I want my fringe to be about 1 inch long. I also just realized I forgot a spot there, so I'm gonna attach one more piece of fringe there because I missed a spot. But when you're trimming your fringe, just take off little bits at a time so that you don't cut off too much. And just take your time and try and get it as even as possible. And here we have our finished Hello Sunshine coaster. Now feel free to repeat the pattern if you want to make a set. You should be able to get 4 to 5 coasters per skein of yarn. These would make great gifts or for selling in spring and summer markets or just making for your own home. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget you can find this pattern free on my blog, theturtletrunk.com, or you can check out the ad-free printable PDF on Etsy and on Ravelry. If you want to show off your finished creation, tag me on Instagram and Facebook so I can see. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.